Hi guys, and welcome to the video. Today we are going to talk about gut health, aren't we, Freya? And Freya's going to help. I'm basically going to go through some common signs and symptoms of IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, some causes of irritable bowel syndrome, and what you guys can do about it. So stay tuned for my top tips. A. What causes an unhappy tummy? Lots and lots of different things. The difference between IBS and irritable bowel disease is that we don't necessarily know the cause of irritable bowel syndrome, but we do know some ways of making it a little bit better in terms of symptoms. Irritable bowel disease means that we've got a definite pathology or reason. And a very excited little doggo. A. So, causes tend to be diet, lifestyle, environments, and sometimes it can also be things like family history. So I'm going to cover all of these quite quickly, and then we're going to have a little talk about what you can do to make yourself feel a little bit better. Okay, so we've spoken a bit about what IBS is and what kind of symptoms you can expect. Now I'm going to cover a couple of really common causes and what you guys can do about it. So there's lots of different things in the world that can cause IBS or the symptoms around it. Now what we're going to talk about is just the common ones. So firstly, diet. What kind of things in our diet can stress out our gut? The answer is a lot. If you've been on quite a restrictive diet, which I've seen in an awful lot of people who have done shows or have been dieting quite aggressively for a long period of time, basically their guts just get to the point that they feel they can't digest an awful lot of food. Why is that? So if you imagine you haven't been drinking alcohol for a while, and suddenly you go on a night out and you have one drink and you just feel completely out of it, overwhelmed, all the rest of it. It's the same for our guts. If we have a food that we've not had for quite a long time, our gut is not going to want to digest that. So the first tip is try and keep your diet balanced with enough carbs in it and enough healthy fats. We need these things to digest our foods and to process everything that we're eating. Second tip for diet is to try and keep your fibre intake consistent. Fibre comes in two types, soluble and insoluble, and we need both of these types of fibre to push our food through our gut. If you have too much of one type or the other type, you can either get diarrhea or constipation, and if you have too much fibre in general, you can get really quite bad gas and bloating. The classic one of this is people who will be dieting and instead of having quite a big carb portion, they'll swap that for salad or veg, a lower calorie option, which is great, but if you're not used to digesting that much fibre, that can give you an awful lot of pain. There's also a lot of fibre in things like protein bars and certain protein blends, so keep an eye out for that as well. MyFitnessPal has a little bit in it that you can track your fibre in, and if you just try and keep it around 25 to 30 grams a day, that's usually adequate for most people. Third one is hydration. So first thing in the morning, if you're getting up and you're just drinking coffee and going straight to work, your gut's not going to be very happy when you start to try and digest things because there's nothing there to lubricate all that food. So the best thing you can do is try and stay hydrated. I usually just say drink until your urine is pretty clear. If it's dark, obviously you're dehydrated. I monitor my fluid intake when I'm dieting and I'm on prep. When I'm not, I just drink when I'm thirsty, and I try and make sure that I feel hydrated. The fourth thing I've just touched on is caffeine. So if you're like me and you love caffeine, then this is going to be a bit of a sad fact for you, but caffeine stimulates your gut and it will increase your gut transit time, so basically it speeds everything up. So if you are waking up, having a cup of coffee and then rushing to the bathroom, that's a sign that that caffeine is really pushing everything through your gut. If that sounds like you, the best thing you can do is just try and limit your caffeine intake. A couple of coffees a day, or a couple of energy drinks, or a coffee and a pre-workout, whatever floats your boat. The fourth thing is trying not to have things that are really, really high in fat or spice at the same time. So the classic is people that have just been out for a takeaway or a curry. That can cause an awful lot of gastric stress if you're not used to digesting that kind of food. So try and regulate that, and if you are going to do that, just have a small amount. Some people with IBS also have problems digesting things like red meat, and they might also have problems with gluten. Doesn't necessarily mean that you're gluten intolerant, but what you can try doing is your own exclusion diet. So track your food for a couple of days and try swapping things like your pasta and your bread for something a bit more easy to digest, like a rice or a cereal. Okay, what else can cause our guts to get a little bit funky? Number 3 is environment. So the environment we live in is not great for stress. There's a lot of early morning risers and late night workers out there. When we're stressed out, our guts get stressed too. That's the exact reason that you get butterflies before you go into an exam. We've got neural pathways that connect to our gut, so it knows when you're not happy. The best thing you can do to try and regulate that is try and relax while you're having a meal. Take your time, chew your food properly, and enjoy eating, and give yourself enough time to do it instead of having work to do while you're eating, or being on YouTube, or just being on your phone. So mindful eating is key if you do suffer from IBS. Okay, the other things that can cause IBS are chronic periods of dieting. So if you have been excluding foods for an awfully long time, your gut becomes quite sensitive when you reintroduce things. So try and keep, throughout any diet phase, your diet pretty balanced in terms of carbs, fats and proteins, and keep a good variety. So about 4 protein sources, 4 fat sources, and lots of different fruit and veg, and as many different kind of carbs as you can tolerate. That's usually key to keeping your gut nice and happy. Okay, so what can we do to optimize our gut health? So I'll talk you through what I do, because I've suffered from IBS in the past and it's really quite horrible. So we'll go through some kind of simple lifestyle things, and then I'll talk about some supplements as well. So in terms of lifestyle, we've already touched on some of these, but drinking plenty of water. Drinking water between your meals and not drinking at the same time as eating, so that there's space in your stomach to digest the food, can work quite well for people. Not eating too late at night, so that you're giving your body a good time to digest your food. And some people do find intermittent fasting quite useful in terms of replenishing that gut bacteria. Secondly is thinking about supplements. So supplements are by no means essential. A healthy lifestyle should give you a healthy gut. However, if you're looking to optimize your gut health, there are some things that you can do. Okay, so these are a couple of things that I take to help with my gut. Not the Nivea, that is just for personal usage. So turmeric or curcumin, this is really, really good. And I take that in the mornings and at night. Omega-3 is just generally quite good for you. It has some evidence for gut health too, but it's just for general health, that one. Daily probiotics, that is twice a day. And this is AD ravenous. This is a digestive enzyme. So basically, if you have a little look at the back, focus, there we go. You can take it with your meals and it just helps you digest what's in them, predominantly the proteins and the fats. And I also take peppermint oil if I am feeling a bit bloated. Peppermint tea is also good, but I quite like just taking capsules because it's easier. So that's some basic lifestyle advice, and I'm just going to cover warning signs. So when should I go and see a doctor, basically? Things to look out for are bloating that doesn't go down, any consistent change in your bowel habit lasting more than 2 to 3 weeks, and any constipation again lasting more than sort of 2 to 3 days, it's always worth going to see your doctor. There are plenty of medical conditions that can mimic IBS, and as I said before, IBS is a diagnosis of exclusion. That means you should really check there's nothing else wrong first before saying that you have IBS, because you don't want to miss something serious. Hopefully this helps, and tune in next week for the next episode. Hopefully this helps, and any comments or questions in the box below. Thanks guys.